Hey folks, BlackCross here, and this is going to be a weird way to do a vlog video. I wanted to be a little bit more casual with this topic because this has been a weird month. April, for those that don't know, April was my birth month, so I was just kind of relaxing and everything like that. I've also mass recorded a lot more than I ordinarily would, so that's why on my favorite games channel you're seeing a lot of videos being released and stuff like that, so that's always good, right? I'm in the mood for recording and stuff like that. I also got Grover here, so Grover is looking at the opposite direction of the camera. Hey Grover, would you like to look at the camera? Would you like to look at the camera? No? You just see, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm just wanting to do it a little bit more casual-like, because the topic that I wanted to talk about today was actually involving the Nintendo Switch 2, which got unveiled the last time I did a Gamer Chat podcast vlog, and the Nintendo Switch 2 was officially unveiled, and, you know, that unveiled was brief, but it did showcase a little bit of what, you know, I was wanting to see, which was what it would look like and stuff like that. And then I want to say a couple of weeks later, we had the actual direct involving the Nintendo Switch 2. Details about the system and potential games that we would be seeing and stuff like that. Basically, in terms of the system detail, we got a lot more than what I thought we was going to get. We definitely got bigger details on the system itself. And, you know, the biggest thing that I wanted from the Switch 2 was the fact that it would be just better built. You know, better built. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy. But a bunch of people that I was talking to that were Nintendo fans and stuff like that, aside from Delmar with the exception, but everybody else that we talked to apparently wanted something more, something bigger, something involving, like, games, you know, like, hey, here's how we can make the game work, this is how we can make the game run, and stuff like that. And I'm like, isn't that a little much? Isn't that a little much? And they're like, I feel like that would be the next step. They're always about innovating. And I'm like, I get the ideal. They're always about innovating, but at the same time, too, right now isn't the time to be innovating, you know. Right now, the Switch has been a very successful system, and I feel like they just need to grow with it rather than expand it, you know. I feel like that would be the safest bet. And, obviously I was right, that this was a good idea, that they just need to expand, to grow with the Switch, you know. In this case, carry it on to the Switch 2, which is what they did. What I was not expecting, though, was how much improvements they actually made with this system. So, first and foremost, it checked off all of my boxes that I wanted it to see, like better performing hardware. Surprisingly, the actual screen itself is going to be bigger. And then, of course, a fan built into the dock, which is really good. Now, while me and Delmar never really had any issues with the Switch, you know, because in the early days, apparently there were people that was complaining about how the Switch melted together with the dock or something like that, which I was like, what the hell? What type of temperature are you running? Because while the system doesn't get that hot, we did find out that the system has a built-in heat temperature thing, where if it gets too hot, it will cut itself off. And it's like, oh, well, that's annoying. And especially for Delmar, because he's been playing the Switch a lot more recently. Because of, like, games like Mario Wonder and stuff of that nature. But, for whatever reason, now he has to have a fan right next to the Switch. So, naturally, that makes for a difficult time for him. But, yeah, having a fan in the dock would be beneficial, and they certainly did that. What I wasn't expecting, though, was that they would basically up the ante by basically not only giving us 4K quality picture, but also 120 frames per second. Holy hell! What the hell did they do? They They went from like being hesitant about pushing it to the max, and now they all of a sudden went fast forward and pushed it to the next level. Like, this was surprising. I was not expecting Nintendo to do any of this. But at the same time, too, it was a welcome change, I thought, you know, in my personal opinion. This was well worth it. And the funny thing is, too, is that the only major games that we saw being unveiled and revealed and shortly released was like Mario Kart World. I keep wanting to call it World Tour, but it's not Tour, it's Mario Kart World. And Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm ordinarily not a big fan of Mario Kart, much less racing and genuine, but when I saw Mario Kart World, I was just like fascinated by it. I was like, oh, this actually looks good. This actually looks entertaining. And I guess the only reason why is because lately I've been seeing Delmar play through Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a lot and everything like that. And even though I'm not good at racing, just seeing how Mario Kart World runs and stuff like that, it just seems entertaining to me, in my personal opinion. And I do love the outfits. I love the outfits. They look cool and everything. So it seems like they've really expanded. They really went big with Mario Kart World. They went bigger than I think they thought that they would do. And I think they had an ideal and they just kept adding more and more, and it eventually became Mario World, you know? And then, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which, by far, Donkey Kong's biggest change, and on the one hand, I kind of like it. I kind of like how Donkey Kong looks. It's a lot more fluffier, I feel like. I also love the fact that he can destroy the entire level. Like, when me and Delmar saw the screenshots and stuff like that, we were just like, that seems like Donkey Kong just being a little too overpowered, isn't he? And then we actually saw like the Nintendo Treehouse preview for the demo of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like it. I like the idea that, hey, you could, if you wanted to, flatten the entire level. Obviously, there is a limit. As I noticed, there was a limit to where the world stops to a point. For example, if you've ever played Minecraft and you get to like the bottom of the world and stuff like that, that's kind of like that. There is actually a limit to before you just stop plowing to the ground and stuff. But I thought it was just fun. Just the fact that you could just plow on the ground and just go anywhere you want. This is almost like a Mario Odyssey, except a lot different. But it's just, it looks entertaining, it looks fun. There's also another game that was unveiled, which it won't be until 2026. So I'm not going to talk too much about it because we don't really have that much detail, but a lot of people compare it to being the Bloodborne 2 equivalent. And surprisingly, this is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive title coming from Software, which I was surprised that that's what was going to happen. Out of all the things that I thought was going to happen, I was not expecting a FromSoft title solo exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. That was surprising. I did not suspect that to happen. Blood Dusk, or Dusk Blood, whatever it's called. The only reason why I don't want to talk too much about it is because really the trailer didn't really help anything. It didn't really do anything for me. It was just like, oh hey, this looks like Bloodborne. And it's like, yeah, but there's just something about it that just doesn't look right. And I think it's because of the fact there's a lot of themes going on. Like there's vampires, there's steampunk, there's like weird, just a bunch of weird stuff. So as of right now, until we get further details coming from FromSoft about the title itself, I'm not going to really think on it too much at the moment right now. It is kind of in that realm of unknown at the moment. With that being said, though, they also announced a lot of different information and stuff like that. A lot of details that came out of it, especially the price of the system, which is basically $500. And I was just like, wow, that's a high price. But that makes sense considering all the upgrades that they've done for the system and stuff like that. But what's weird is that there's a lot of people that are complaining about the price hike. You know, there's a lot of people that are just basically saying Nintendo went too far, or this is going to break Nintendo and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? This is everything you've wanted from Nintendo. Is this not? Why is this a big issue all of a sudden? Why are people complaining about the fact that this is a high price system? And I don't think that's the case. I think this came out of nowhere shortly after the announcement for those that don't know, here in America, we have what's called tariffs now. This was a thing that was being discussed for months now, and shortly before Nintendo Switch 2 had their Direct, the government basically announced tariffs are official. All shipments from across the world are being halted due to tariffs. And all the other countries are right now trying to go through, I call it like a bidding thing, where they're trying to make deals and stuff like that. But apparently everybody else is calling this a tariff war. And it's like, no, this isn't a tariff war. This is not a war. This is just people complaining about paying too much money and stuff like that. That's all it is right now. That's all I'm seeing anyway. I'm not really looking into it too deeply. I'm just like, hey, everything's gone up. What a shock, right? But this tariff situation, a lot of people thought that, the reason why the Nintendo Switch 2 is so high priced is because of the fact that we have these tariffs that's kicked in. It turns out that's not the case. The reason for the price increase is because of the chip that they are getting it from, which is coming from Germany, I think someone said. And I thought, okay, so what's the problem? Why is everyone still complaining about the price increase and stuff? And at first everyone was like, this is going to be a delay for the Switch 2. It's not going to come out on June 5th. It's going to be delayed. So far there hasn't been an official announcement, not by Nintendo anyway. I think Nintendo's holding off on any update information until right at that moment in time. So that way they can just kind of get a deal worked out to where, hey, we'll pay this much to where we can get it shipped into the United States and stuff like that. Whatever details go on and stuff like that, I don't think it really matters. I think it's just a point of like, hey, if you want the system that badly, you pay the price, you know? That's how it works, you know? The high, what's the word I'm looking for? The desirability of the product will depend on the price of the product, you know? And if the product is priced reasonable for you, then most likely you're going to get the system. If it's too high for you, then, well, you might as well wait for it, you know? That's the word to say. And a lot of people are going to... There's going to be a divide between two people, you know? You're going to have the people that are going to say, you have to get this, versus other people that's going to say, well, you don't have to get it right now. The Switch is going to be like... It's not going to get high sales right off the back, for a number of reasons. One of them is obviously because of this tariff situation. Second reason is going to be because people think the system is too pricey, and only certain people who either have the funds to where they can purchase it right offhand will get it, or there's just going to be people that's going to be like, there's not a lot of games at the moment right now, so I'll just wait until later on. And that's to be expected, you know? But there was also news coming out that Nintendo might actually increase the system's price due to the tariffs. And then Microsoft turned around and said, hey, we're going to add an extra $100 to all of our Xbox products out there and stuff like that. All their systems, their controllers, and I believe their games as well are going to go on a price increase. And this got a lot of people worried about games going up in price and stuff like that. We've been actually hearing this news actually being spread out even before the Switch 2 was unveiled. Rockstar Games announced that they were finally getting GTA 6 being released. Don't know when exactly, but GTA 6 is a thing, Grand Theft Auto 6, which is surprising because the 5 was released back, I believe, on the PlayStation 3, and then it got pushed into the PlayStation 4 shortly after its release, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, I don't know, it's been that long ago now. And it felt like they've been releasing GTA 5 on everything, so that's not surprising. What was really surprising for me was that they were actually making GTA 6. But a bigger surprise was the fact of how much they were going to probably price it. Apparently, according to what they were stating, they were going to price it at $100, $120, depending. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. No one's going to buy that. No one's going to buy it at that price. That's too high. That's practically 2 games when you think about it. But apparently, according to what a lot of companies are saying, if for some reason Rockstar Games increase their price on the game itself, then they in turn will turn around and sell it at that price as well, which is a bummer. It's a big bummer for a lot of gamers, especially for gamers who usually buy games at their release and stuff like that. So there's that. But I'm not sure what's going to happen at this point. I think as of right now, the gaming industry is at a point where it doesn't know what to do. It's like, okay, it's costing a lot of money to make these games. If we don't turn around and make a profit out of it, we're not going to last long. And that kind of makes sense, especially with the high demand of higher performing systems, such as higher frame rates, higher quality picture, up to 4K at this rate, and then of course detail from like ray tracing and stuff like that. There's a lot of demand for making these systems run as good as they can. So because of that, it just makes sense for the prices to be increased and stuff. So it's up to you. If you feel like you want to buy into it despite the price increase, then that's your choice. If not, then just wait it out. That's all I can tell you. I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm not too worried because really, in all honesty, the only thing that I'm really interested in that's in my radar, like the immediate radar, like you have this big circle of importance and stuff like that. Nintendo Switch 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Mario Kart World, they're right here, so they're not immediately important, but they're like, yeah, if I'm able to, but if not, I'm not too worried about it. But as you get closer to the circle, you got like different other stuff. My biggest thing is Kingdom Hearts 4, which we don't have any information at all. Square, you are killing me here. Not really, though. I'm not too worried about it. I get why there hasn't been any details about it, obviously. It's just the news circulating with Kingdom Hearts 4 as well as Missing Link, which, again, oh gosh, I feel sorry for people who are hyped for Missing Link because it's been delayed non-stop, and I think it's because of the fact that the Google Map system or whatever is just not working out for them. Either that or they're kind of retracing their ideals of like, do we want another mobile phone Kingdom Hearts title? Do we really want another one? At this point, I don't know. It's kind of funny, but yeah, the biggest thing is just Kingdom Hearts 4. There was a rumor going around saying that, Kingdom Hearts 4 could be released in 2026. I don't know. Until I see an official trailer unveil, and I don't mean like, there was technically one. That was years ago. We're already, I believe it was like 4 years ago. I believe someone said 4 years ago. I forget. But anyway, so until we get another Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about it at all. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, until we get more details, it's just kind of like up in the wind and stuff. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. With that said, though, I do want to give an update on everything in regards to the channel and stuff like that. Obviously, Favorite Games channel. We're slowly closing in and everything like that. So that's cool. Twitch streaming. I have been very hesitant on Twitch streaming, but that's only because I got a lot of things going on and everything like that. I got a lot of different stuff that's happening and everything like that. Nothing too bad, just mostly just trying to get things recorded and everything like that. So we'll see how that spans out and stuff. If everything works out well, that'd be great. If not, then we'll just do what we can. So Twitch streaming might slow down, might pick up. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. The main channel, though, nothing too major except for reviews. So, I know a lot of people are going to be wondering, it's been a while since you've done a video game review. Why is that? Well, obviously, number one, playing favorite games and everything like that, so there's that. Another one is that I'm kind of revising my review playlist. Now, nothing's going to change, except the wording about reviews. Because I know someone's going to say, because I had one comment, and it's not a big deal, but it bothers me a little bit. It bothers me in the fact that, yeah, I know it came out a year ago, but I'm finally playing it. So I don't know if I should still call it a review, or if I should call it, hey, I finally played such and stuff like that. Because again, there are games that I have not played, that are in my collection right now. There are games that are still, being tackled on as we speak. So it's one of those things where it's like, should I still call it a review, or should I just change it to, I finally played such and such, or I finally got to play this, or I'm finally touching this, or something like that. You know, it's one of those things. So it's like, should I change it, or should I just leave it as a review? For me, I feel like I should just leave it as a review, but instead of saying review, I should just say, I finally played this. Like, perfect example. The Yakuza series. I've only played Yakuza 0 so far right now. So I do plan on diving into the Yakuza series eventually at some point in time right now. But I feel like I'm going to wait until after I beat the majority of them. For example, up until Like a Dragon, there are 6 total Yakuza games. Well, 7 if you count 0, but that's beside the point. Point is that it eventually gets a name change, and I think it's because of the fact that Yakuza is an actual term, you know, and they don't want to associate themselves with an actual group known as the Yakuza, and instead they want to just kind of retract it to be in its own subtitle known as Like a Dragon. I think that's the reason. I'm not 100% sure. I would have to look at it again just to make certain, but I feel like that's probably what it is. I feel like that's partially, but anyway, I digress. The Yakuza franchise has been out for a much long time period and stuff like that, so I wanted to finally play through the games, but maybe not so much call it as a review, but so much as I finally got to play the Yakuza games. Maybe that's the title, maybe that's what I'll do, but they'll still be under reviews, because I am still talking about the games, and I'm still kind of ratioing them as to, like, how would I recommend them to you and stuff like that. That's kind of my plan that I got going on so far, so there's that. With that said, though, guys, that's going to be it for this podcast vlog series that I put together. Again, I just felt like talking about this subject because it's been kind of picked up for a while now, and I just felt like talking about it a little bit more casually. And since I had Grover over here, I was like, oh, you know what, why not? So, even though Grover didn't have his face shown on the camera the entire time, he was just kind of licking my hand for minutes on end. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. So, until then, see you later. Say bye-bye, Grover. See you next time.